Hey beautiful! Today, you and Queen Zani will be talking about Luuk, his details, and much more. Plus, there's a Lunite subscription giveaway. All you need to do is like the video and leave a comment below to enter. Alright, let's get into it. According to information provided by Seal, Luuk is expected to be a 5-star Spectro character who uses gauntlets. Now, I already know what some of you are thinking. Another support? Didn't we already suffer enough without a proper male DPS in version 2.x? Well, think again, because you might be wrong. Luuk's expected combat role is listed as main damage dealer, focused on basic attack damage, with Toon Rupture response and Toon Strain response mechanics. That alone gives us a pretty solid idea of what kind of kit he could have. Most importantly, Luuk appears to revolve around the new Toon mechanic, which is likely to be the core of his gameplay and identity. Before we go any further, let me make one thing very clear. This is all theory crafting. Nothing here is official, and his final kit could be very different, so please take everything with a grain of salt. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into the fun part. What kind of kit could Luuk actually have? To understand his potential playstyle, we have to look at the new version 3.0 Echo set, the Rite of Gilded Revelation. This set seems tailor-made for him and gives us some massive clues. The 5-piece bonus states, dealing basic attack damage increases Spectro damage, stacking up to 3 times. With 3 stacks, casting Resonance Liberation grants a 40% basic attack damage bonus. Now here is why this is interesting. The set mechanic implies a strict 2-phase rotation. You have to be on-field attacking before you use your ultimate to get the full buff. And this aligns perfectly with some old news we heard about a blonde Mecha Man. If Luuk turns out to be that character, there is a very high chance we're looking at a transformation mechanic. Similar to Zani and Cartithia, he could have 2 distinct states. Think of it like a normal phase and a mecha phase. In the first phase, you're in his normal form, landing attacks to build those 3 stacks. Then, you cast Resonance Liberation to trigger the transformation, entering the mecha form with that huge 40% basic attack bonus active. This theory actually helps explain the combat roles Seal gave us: Toon Rupture response and Toon Strain response. First, let's look at Toon Rupture response. In the context of the new version 3.0 mechanics, Rupture likely refers to the state achieved when an enemy's stagger bar, or Toon meter, is fully depleted. This implies Luuk is a burst window DPS. His kit likely contains a passive multiplier that triggers specifically when attacking stunned or broken enemies. You use the normal form to set up the stacks, and then transform to convert his basic attacks into a higher damage tier during that vulnerable window. Next is Toon Strain response. This suggests a conditional damage increase based on a specific debuff called Strain. Unlike standard hyper carries who buff their own stats, Luuk appears to rely on the enemy's state. If the target has the Strain debuff, his mecha output likely scales even higher. This brings us to his synergy with Mornai. If Luuk's mechanics are tied to the Rupture state, Mornai becomes mechanically essential. We know her kit increases the off-toon build-up rate, or stagger efficiency. By using Mornai to deplete the enemy's bar faster, you minimize the downtime between Luuk's damage windows. Essentially, the rotation would likely involve Mornai accelerating the break, a sub-DPS applying the Strain debuff, and then swapping to Luuk. You build your stacks in normal mode, and then transform exactly as the shield breaks to utilize his response multipliers. It's a very technical playstyle that prioritizes stagger management over raw button mashing. Now, based on that analysis, let's discuss his optimal team compositions. Since his damage output is heavily tied to Toon Rupture, the stagger state, and Toon Strain, a debuff condition, standard hypercarry teams might not be his ceiling. Instead, we need teams that actively enable those mechanics. So, we can expect Luuk, Mornai, and Lene. However, it's important to note that Lene applies Strain only while on-field, making her more of a setup unit rather than a true off-field enabler. Here is the technical breakdown of why this works. As we discussed, Mornai is best in slot here. Her role is to accelerate the off-toon build-up, allowing you to deplete the enemy's stagger bar significantly faster. This directly feeds into Luuk's Rupture response. For the 3rd slot, you need a unit that applies the Strain status. Lene fills this role. Now, let's talk about his release window. Based on current information, Luuk is expected to arrive in version 3.1 or later, though nothing is officially confirmed yet. So until then, keep your savings tight. That's all for today. And hey, if you watched all the way to the end, you're a legend.